Okay, guys, wonderful day again today, and today we're going to talk about Karnataka Bank. In the spirit of speaking and generating more content and more learning about poorly performing banks, Karnataka Bank is another good example. One thing I want to begin by saying is my initial intention was to cover all the poorly performing banks within the Nifty Bank index. So Karnataka Bank does not belong in the index, the Nifty Bank index. But my interest towards learning about Karnataka Bank was largely because a couple of months back, when I was doing some research, a personal research of my own, on mutual funds, mutual fund, the most amount of investments of mutual fund. Karnataka Bank was interestingly one of the top companies that a lot of these mutual funds were heavily investing into. So I was naturally very intrigued behind why Karnataka Bank was very much being invested by these mutual funds. There's a lot of situations that there's a lot of bias by even mutual funds themselves, is what I've understood right now. Is that if one mutual fund is sort of like experiencing some kind of growth, other mutual funds naturally would be studying that kind of mutual fund. They would be understanding what are the kind of holdings this actively well performed new mutual fund should be experiencing, and they would understand, okay, fine, if Karnataka Bank is having like a 3% capacity in this particular mutual fund, other mutual funds would be like naturally wondering, oh, is it because of Karnataka Bank? So they would probably even mimic the same kind of analysis over there. But that's factually and everything, like there's a lot of incorrectness, and there's a lot of there's a lot of bias associated with that kind of strategy when you're trying to mimic other kind of uh, businesses, like mutual fund businesses. It's wrong and it should not be done. And today I'm trying to explain why it should not be done. If you try to like mimic a mutual fund, the mutual fund companies performance, because mutual fund companies, they have very strong and trained experts. What we see is, okay, fine, these numbers, it's like the their assets under management are XYZ numbers, their NAV, net annual value, or NAV value for the end of the days, so XYZ numbers. So what we do not know behind the scenes is that there's a separate kind of judgment that these analysts, these mutual fund analysts would follow. So I wanted to understand what my analysis is, and that's the problem. That's the that's the kind of spirit I'm trying to work on in this particular series of analysis I'm trying to focus on, by trying to analyze con call reports from each company that's released every single month. So speaking of Karnataka Bank today, it's experiencing a very interesting situation, because sometime in June, what Karnataka Bank experienced was the CEO, the executive director, the MD and CEO, sorry, the managing director and the CEO, as well as the executive director, all of them resigned. There was an audit related report, and Karnataka Bank experienced some sort of, they were experienced questions being asked towards them, and the top management, the top brass of the management, all of them resigned. And then sometime in October again, the head of Treasury again resigned. So we're dealing with a series of resignations by one company in itself, which is very critical, because Karnataka Bank is a regional player. It's a regional bank with, whenever there's a regional bank that's actively contributing to a state's progress, they want to make sure that they are in the good books of the state. And if the bank in itself is not performing well, then it would reflect negatively towards the state again, right? So because of that, they're in a very interesting situation. So they're dealing with a new set of management. They're dealing with a refreshed sense, a refreshed look, and a new kind of. They're looking at their guidance. So what happens when the beginning of the year starts, the beginning of the financial year, or in the first quarter itself? What happens is the management releases a guidance. Okay, when it releases a guidance saying these are the growth metrics, this is what we're trying to focus on, and this is what we were actively invested in growing towards. And if the same management that has created that guidance are themselves resigning and quitting the company, what really happens is the company is really in a very confused state. The guidance which was set by someone else is now leaving the bank. Then that shows that the confidence by the management itself is not being it's not there. They're not experiencing any kind of confidence on the same bank that they're heading. So why will the shareholders themselves have that kind of confidence when the management themselves are leaving the bank? So we are dealing with that kind of a situation over here.